Okay, so first I think it's important to kind of give a definition to what I mean when I say half shots, stock shots, and full shots. So for me, I would say for a stock shot, I swing it about 70-80%. So for something like a half shot, it's basically an abbreviated shot. Like, you know, you can tell I have an abbreviated follow through. And I would say I swing it about 10% slower than a stock shot. Whereas for a full shot, for a stock shot, it's about 80%. So let's say a half shot is about 70%. And a hard shot, which is like really trying to max out, is probably going to be close to 100%. I don't think I would ever get to 100% because that is like trying to play long drive. So I would say between 90, 80, and 70% of power, tempo, whatever you kind of feel like. So yeah, and that is kind of how I define my half shot, stock shot, and full shot. So next I wanted to talk about when I would use different shots based on the situation and what I kind of expect when I hit half shots, stock shots, and full shots. Okay, so normally when I hit a half shot, what I would expect is a bit of a lower ball flight. I would also expect the ball to spin a little bit more, and I would expect it to go a little bit straighter. So for a stock shot, if I hit a regular stock shot, usually my shot shape is pretty straight, but naturally I would still have a little bit of a draw. So for a full shot, I would tend to expect it to draw more because I'm trying to hit it harder. So obviously it's going to emphasize my natural shot shape, which is a draw. So for the full shot, I would expect it to draw a little bit more, and I would expect more run out. So, and also I expect a higher ball flight. So that's kind of the differences between the three shots. Okay, so just to sum it up, I have a 7-iron. A stock shot would be about a 150-yard carry, pretty straight, maybe a little draw, maybe a 10-yard rollout. For a half shot, and that's maybe an 80% power feel for me, a half shot with a 7-iron would probably go about 140 carry to 145 depending on how far I want to hit it. But I would say 140, 70% power, a little bit lower ball flight, and more spin. So maybe like a 5 to 8 yard run out depending on how hard I want to hit the half shot. And then a full or a hard shot would be 90% power, a little bit more of a draw ball flight, and probably going to carry about 155 and roll out maybe even up to 15 yards. So the first thing that I think you'll notice, or at least I hope you've noticed, is that I've just made a 150 club become a 140 to 160, maybe even a 170 club depending on conditions. So now I'm able to use one club and go many different distances versus just having one distance for that one club. Alright, let's look at this approach shot. Right now I've got 108 yards playing 115. It's an uphill green, so there's not much space short of the pin, but there is space past the pin. So like I said just now, with a half shot, it's going to spin more and be a little bit straighter, be a little bit more receptive to the green. So I think because of that, I'm just going to go with a half 9-iron. A regular 9-iron is going to go like 130. So even though this might go past the pin, there is a slope past the pin as well. So even though a stock shot is technically the pitching wedge for this shot, I decided to go with a 9-iron, and you can see some of the factors that comes into play, such as how much green I have to work with, and you know, if I want a shot that runs out more or a shot that spins more. So for this case, because I want one that's going to be a little bit more receptive, I'm going to go with a longer club and hit the half 9-iron. Okay, so I still had too much club there. I think because I changed back to my older irons, I'm going to have to adjust a little bit, so it's going to be a great exercise for me as well. But I think the pitching wedge there was going to be better looking back at it, just because of where I was, being past the pin, and because I missed it right as well, was definitely not the position to be at. So yeah, definitely not the right club for that hole. But like I said, it's not going to be like, you're not going to get the right club every single time, but knowing what you want to do and what you need to do for each shot is important as well, because then it's going to help you for the next upcoming shots. If I have a similar situation again, I'll know that the pitching wedge is going to be the better option. Okay, for this approach shot, I've got 118 yards playing 120. It's in the rough, so I'm assuming it's going to run out more, and because of that I'm going to hit a half shot. But since, like I said, because it's in the rough, it's going to run out more. Yeah, but the pin is behind, so I really just need to carry the hazard and my ball should be fine. So usually when I'm trying to prioritize, especially because in the rough it's going to pull a little bit, I usually try to hit half shots more often because I feel like I can control it better. So yeah, out of the rough and on any kind of slope, virtually down slope, up slope, side slope, whatever, I usually hit a half shot because I just feel like I have better control of the ball with it. Okay, so in addition to swing tempo, which is what I mentioned just now about being about 70%, 80% and 90% for a half, stock and hard shot, other things that I do differently, obviously for a stock shot, it's just going to be my regular swing, whatever I feel it's the standard stock for me. For a half shot, what I tend to do is I put the ball a little bit more in the center of my stance. Like you guys know, I said I take an abbreviated follow through, and I kind of feel the same on the backswing as well, just kind of like a 3/4 swing both ways. And I also just try to feel a little bit more connected, so I don't really feel too much, just kind of like a very compact swing. And then for a full or a hard shot, what I tend to do is I try to swing it harder with my arms. So for me, I'm a person that has fast hips, so if you're not, maybe you would try to feel it more with your hips. But for me, when I try to hit harder, what I want to do is hit it more with my hands or my arms, because when I try to do it with my hips are really fast, so it's not going to work for me. So essentially, half shots is more compact swing, stock shot is a stock shot, and a hard shot is more swinging it harder with my arms. And ball position and everything for the hard shot is basically the same, except for a driver if I'm trying to hit it harder. But yeah, that's not the purpose of this video. For the approach shot there at 101 yards, like you can see, I was standing on a downhill slope, and like I mentioned just now, if I'm on a slope, I almost always choose the half shot, just because I think one of the reasons why a lot of people tend to not be able to make contact when they're on slopes is because they try to hit it too hard. So half shots work the best for me on any kind of slope. So yeah, I just went with a half 48-degree wedge here and left it a little bit short of the pin. But also because it depends so much on how the ball is going to release, especially when I'm on a downhill slope. Like if it had taken the right slope, it would have released a lot, and past the green, past the pin is water, bringing water into play, so short was definitely the better option there. Another thing I forgot to mention is usually when I hit half shots, I also tend to grip it down a little bit, maybe by an inch. Yeah, no particular reason why, I just feel like it helps me with my half shots and helps me make better contact.